There's something about the term, it's all right for some, like that kind of gets to me a little bit.
Why does it get to you?
It gets to me a little bit because I feel like a preconception that, I don't know, life is sit on the beach and sit pina coladas or something like that. But there was a turning point where I was just like, I need to stop. That needs to not be my goal.
Okay.
Because I think the realization was that I'm on a different path now.
When you said like when I'm on the daily hustle, and I'm thinking like this is a guy that's been in business for over a decade and he's still calling it a hustle. How do you see that?
So I describe it as a hustle because that's literally how I see it. On the few occasions where I do manage to kind of zoom out, I do look back and go, that's not normal.
Yeah,
like, you know, that's not normal. Therefore, I'm quite proud of it. You know, being frank, I've never had a job.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
no,
it.
I'm
Welcome to Business Blocks, Jamie O'Mara. Do you know what? It feels like it's been a minute since we've seen each other as well, actually. When was the last time we saw each other?
When was the last time we saw each other? It was at one of your workshops.
Oh, okay. The mindset one.
Yeah,
at
mindset
Soho House.
At
Okay,
Soho House.
cool.
Yeah, that would have been the last time. So that was year before last?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Was it last year?
I think it was, no, it would have been last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
It's like springtime last year or something.
God, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So for those watching this who don't know Jamie, so your background, your first thing was Box Shop, right? That was your kind of like where where you started off. And then from that, you went into Cuties Pies and Fries.
Yeah.
And then into the Storage Bros.
Yeah.
And then more recently, what's the franchise one that you do again?
So that's, so it's in, I guess top level, it's in commercial real estate. So it's called Get Yards.
Oh yeah, that's it, Get Yards.
Yeah, so it's Get Yards. It specializes in iOS, which is mine's gone blank. It's industrial open storage.
Okay, right. I think of iOS thing like iPhone, but
yeah. See, that's why I got confused because we've got 3 iPhones.
No, it's being filmed on red camera.
Oh yeah. We're shooting on Alexas only. iOS, international open storage. So it's a sector of commercial real estate.
Okay.
Which is still within storage. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm doing with Storage Bros. Storage Bros is self-storage.
Yep.
So it's to customers that could be like business, it could be B2B business customers, or it could be like domestic home customers.
Got you.
And then Get Yards is direct to, small to medium-sized businesses.
Okay.
So that need open storage yards.
Okay.
So like transport, haulage companies, builders merchants, scaffolders,
Got you.
car salespeople, like that kind of thing.
Because I want to come on to like how that kind of started, or rather how that came from fast food. But before we do that, I kind of want to know what made you even take the first step in the first place to start Box Shop, for example.
It's a good question. I think it's something that now that I'm well over 10 years into, I guess, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And being a business owner, like a legit business owner. Because
wait, what we did before?
not illegitimate. I mean, I guess look, as you identified, like Box Shop was my first business.
Yeah.
And that's how I describe it. It was my first proper business.
Got you.
Before that, I was a freelance filmmaker and photographer, graphic designer. So that was like my first. That was my early 20s. So straight out of university, straight into freelancing. I had no business freelancing. I was not ready, both from a maturity point of view and from a financial point of view, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's now that I'm, I guess like over 10 years into my, career as an entrepreneur. I'm now looking back and wondering why I've gone into this path.
Okay.
Being frank, I've never had a job.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
no, I've literally never had a job. Like my last job was when I was at university. And when I was at university, I made money by, a lot of people worked in bars.
Yeah.
And in pubs and things like that. I was always a waiter. I always worked in restaurants. So there's a segue.
This is the food thing.
Yeah. into the food industry.
Okay.
But even that is like, they're quite far removed.
For sure.
It's kind of a coincidence that my last ever job was in
hospitality.
So that was when I was like 18.
Okay, fair enough.
And I've been doing this ever since.
I've got to say though, like I kind of rate that, because I mean, to go from uni straight into kind of, I suppose, just doing it for yourself, like whether that, I mean, yeah, you can say that you weren't a business owner or whatever, but just to go and decide that from that point that you were going to kind of figure it all out on your own, I quite rate that.
Yeah, I guess like, it's like figure it out on your own. I think there's an element of, you know, yes, there's an element of, I guess, like courage, risk taking, you know, but then there's also an element of like naiveness, stupidity, and stubbornness. And it's like, no, I don't want to get a job. You know, it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build my skill set, and I'm going to teach myself this. I've always been like quite autodidactic. Like, that's how I've built.
Yeah.
To, I guess, the person I am today, the business owner that I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 2025 now. What year did you leave uni and go self-employed?
So that was, what year did I graduate? It's got to be 2012, I think.
Okay, so over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean,
22. No, it's got to be 2011. Yeah, 2011, 2012.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
I don't know how often. Uni. Yeah, but I don't know how often you kind of like sort of look in the rear view and go like, oh shit, that was like over a decade ago. But like the thing is, it's like, you know, I don't know what the statistics are, but there's like, it's something like 70 or like 80% of businesses will fail in like the first year or something. I'm sort of making these numbers up, but they're high. Do you know what I mean? And then it's, you know, steeper the next year and so on and so forth. And like, so I suppose my point really is that to have been doing it in some form for over a decade, I think is a testament. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
I guess it's pretty cool. To be fair, like, yeah, I think on the few occasions where I do manage to kind of zoom out, out of the, you know, daily hustle and stuff. Like I do look back and go, that's not normal. You know, that's not normal. Therefore, I'm quite proud of it. But also, you know, the whole, like, I think it's come up quite a lot recently of the fact that I've never had a job type thing, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's not like I'm boasting, but then I'm also quite proud of that. You know, but also, like, I'm not suggesting that if you've chosen that life of employment and you know and gone down that route, I'm not suggesting that it's in any way better or worse. It's just that.
Why do you feel like you have to defend that point?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Right? It's strange. I don't know how to fully explain it, but maybe I can. There's a couple of scenarios that might help my, I guess, logic behind it. I guess what I have, if I choose, is time. I give a lot of my time to my businesses and to my endeavors, but I feel like it's on my terms. So, for example, like, I don't clock how many hours a week I do work, because I don't know, maybe there's something about it that if I did, then it would be like sickening. but then there's some weeks where I'm like, I haven't done much. You know? So, but because my time is my own, I don't know, like, I can, you know, like, I don't know, like this morning, for example, it was a Friday morning and I was able to go and babysit for my godchildren, for example. And I really value that. And the, you know, there's that phrase where, I don't know, let's say that I've been on a holiday or something, you know, something like that. And I really don't like, or there's something about the term, it's all right for some, like, that kind of gets to me a little bit.
Why does it get to you?
It gets to me a little bit because I feel like there's a bit of a preconception behind, I don't know, like owning a business or having a level of success.
Like what?
A preconception that, I don't know, life is, I don't know, I sit on a beach and sip pina coladas or something like that. It's just like, man, like, you know, we've touched on like the, you know, the decade of the most recent decade of business ownership, and then before that it was more freelancing and that is just an absolute roller coaster and a grind to get to the place that I am today, which is still, I guess, like, probably nowhere near where I want to be.
Hang on. Let's go back. Let's go with that. Why is it nowhere near where you want to be?
Well, I constantly change the goalposts.
I was going to say
that's what it is.
Do you know? I didn't want to like pick because you were in flow, so I didn't want to like stop you. But a minute ago, you used the word hustle. When you said like when I'm on the daily hustle, and I'm thinking like this is a guy that's been in business for over a decade, and he's still calling it a hustle. And now like, I'm just really interested by that use of like that word in this context, and like now. What you're saying now. Like, how do you see that?
So I describe it as a hustle because that's literally how I see it, right? So I'm going to compare the life that I live and choose to live compared to, let's say, someone that's in employment, right?
Okay.
And we both have, this is what I've identified, right?
Okay.
Is that we both have the same fears of the opposite. So
right.
Someone that is in full-time employment that has a level of security and a level of structure and a level of predictability to their life financial situation has a fear of the opposite, which is not having security, which is not having that 9 to 5, which is not knowing where your next, paycheck is going to come from.
Yeah.
So that's the fear on that side, right? But the fear on the other side, which is the side that I'm on, as a business owner that doesn't necessarily know where things will lead me, doesn't necessarily have what traditionally a steady paycheck. Like I hustle for profit, essentially, right? Like that's kind of how I see it. But I have a fear of the opposite. I have a fear of having to one day do the opposite.
Well, like settle down with like structure. And,
yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And security, and I guess like someone telling me what to do.
See, I think I see where the word hustle comes in now.
Yeah.
So you're hustling to avoid that.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Do you know that's a fascinating way to look at it, actually. And actually, I can relate to that as well because it's like, do you know, it's funny. Like, this is going to sound like a really weird comparison, right? But like, do you know Travis Barker from Blink-182?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's obviously covered in tattoos, right, head to toe.
Yeah.
His whole thing was when he was younger, he was like, I'm going to cover myself. I'm going to make myself unemployable. So that I literally have to. Do you see what I mean? And then, so it kind of makes me think about what you're saying, which is that it's that idea of like anything but that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's where that's really interesting. I've never heard that about Travis Barker.
Yeah.
But I literally made that decision when I got my hands tattooed.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I remember when I wanted to get these, because these happened at different times. Like that was way before this. And
yeah.
I remember when this happened, which was like onto my hand.
Yeah.
I was just like, even if I didn't have the conversation with anyone but myself about it, probably some sort of internal monologue. I remember literally being like, not that I'd really ever put on a shirt other than to a wedding or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember being like, if I wear a shirt, like you're going to be able to see that. Yeah. And then in the same moment, I was just like, sod it. Like that's that's the kind of commitment that I'm making.
Do you know, it's funny, like, because I don't know if it's seen this one, but that's why I got this one on my hand established 2024, because it's like, because that's when I started my business. So it's I think I'd say sometimes maybe it's kind of, there's this really cool, I'm going to absolutely butcher this analogy, but it's like, it's something like nothing will make people leave a building quite like it's on fire or something. And it's like people people won't naturally do things if they have an option to do otherwise, because it's like we always want the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas it's like if you have to do something, it's like it's a bigger energy. So tell me, okay, so like let's now, why did you go from flipping burgers? I know you weren't actually flipping them, but like
I flipped enough burgers one time.
I'm sure you rolled your sleeves up just fine. But like, what made you move from flipping burgers into go into something completely different, like the storage thing?
Well, there is a slight, there is a connection between the two, and I'll build that bridge.
I want to hear that.
I know they're quite far apart, right? So my first business, so the box shop, which I exited from around late 2022.
Okay.
It wasn't the exit that I envisioned.
Okay.
Like it didn't go exactly how it was meant to.
Okay.
It came to.
How was it meant to go?
I mean, look, like my exit plans for my first business were huge. Like they were like, yeah, we're going to scale to this.
Oh, I see.
Exit for this, and that was always the mentality behind that business.
Okay.
You know, I enjoyed the journey so much.
Yeah,
it was the first thing that I properly sank my teeth into from a entrepreneurial point of view, from a creative point of view, because my background is creativity.
Yeah,
and I always channel that into my businesses or my business endeavors, or so it was a brilliant journey to be on. I then, because I built up quite a wealth of experience, I guess, in hospitality at that point. Me and my ops manager at the time, we kind of segued off and we started a consultancy.
Okay.
So where it started off as a consultancy, and it actually turned into more of like a service-based agency for anything hospitality related.
Okay.
But we started doing it like we got a really big client initially, which kind of led on to a succession of quite big projects, quite big clients to work on. And I'm just trying to think where this is going, actually. Lost my chain of thought.
You're trying to get to storage.
I'm trying to get from hospitality to storage. I think what we did is we fell into that cliche of like starting a consultancy, but actually what we were doing is we were just doing services for people.
Got you.
But getting paid, like we're getting paid really well for it, right? Part of what we were doing in that business, we were building restaurants, we were designing restaurants, we were building restaurants for clients. We were then recruiting, we were then designing menus, refining menus. We were then recruiting a team to cook said menu. We were then implementing SOPs and operational structures. And then on the back end of that, we were also then marketing those businesses. So we were literally like A all the way to Z for hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And then part of the build aspect of the agency, if you like, was that we were sourcing equipment for, it depends what it was. So like it could be specialist pizza equipment, or it could be like, like very specialist ovens that only come from Italy or whatever. And so we're sourcing these bits of equipment, and the type of equipment that once you found them, you kind of just need to jump on them.
Right. And
then we had essentially, for one client, we had everything on their equipment list came to us in an opportunity where we could essentially buy an existing business that had gone into liquidation, all of their equipment, which basically ticked off a lot of boxes for this particular client that we were doing a build for.
Yeah.
All of that stuff needed to go into storage because it wasn't yet ready.
Let's see how we're getting.
It wasn't yet ready to go to the site that we were still building, right? It was still in construction. So this was a lot of kit. It was a lot of equipment. It would have required like a big space. And at the time, the only option that we had was like your big yellow storage or your storage mart or something like that. Which are very expensive, essentially.
Yeah, I've used Big Yellow before. Yeah. It's pretty pricey.
It's quite pricey, right?
Yeah.
But then I knew that shipping container self-storage was like a thing. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but I knew that it was an alternative to something like Big Yellow storage.
Got you.
Because we needed somewhere as cheap as we can to store this equipment. Otherwise, it's just going to eat our margin.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to before it goes onto the site.
I see how this is coming together.
So then we we found a container storage site that was kind of just off the A23. Like it was somewhere between Brighton and London, just off the A23. And it was like super affordable. So we called the guy up, booked it on the day, turned up in a Luton van, loaded everything on, and then happy days. But when we got there, we were like, this is wild. Never seen anything like this before. It was just shipping containers in a really nicely presented yard with electric gates, like automated gates and stuff like that. It was super simple, and we were like, okay, like this does us absolutely fine. But then we got there and we were counting these shipping containers. We were like, well, we know how much we've just paid for this shipping container, times it by 20, and like this guy's not even here. Yeah, and that was like.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That is where that all started.
That does make a lot of sense, actually. I was at the beginning, I was finding it really hard to see how that was going to end up in shipping.
Yeah.
But I also quite like the story as well, because didn't you you've been quite good on social in terms of like documenting like the journey and stuff. Like you've pretty much been just figuring out how to do this as you've been doing it, right?
Literally that. Yeah. Literally that. There's been a couple of cool resources out there, but it's like really niche.
Yeah.
It's super, super niche.
There's no like book on it or anything like that.
No, there's no book
or YouTube video. Or
yeah. Well, there is a YouTube. There is a YouTube channel by a guy that is kind of known in self-storage as like self-storage royalty.
I love that.
But he's kind of like Marmite of the self-storage world.
Okay.
Because what he does is he has been. So imagine a podcast.
Yeah.
About self-storage before podcasting was like really a thing. So you imagine how niche like the audience.
Niche
Yeah. but perfect for people like us starting out in self-storage, bootstrapping it, doing it from scratch, not knowing how to do it. So that became a really good resource.
Cool.
So basically it's a guy called Dean Booty.
Okay.
And for years, he's been podcasting about self-storage, about how he got into self-storage, which was, I think, well over a decade ago, influenced by America, saw a real gap in the market in the UK, started executing it for himself. But every single week, he just divulges all of his numbers, all of his entire business. Basically, he podcasts about it.
Really,
down to literally how much revenue he's made this week, how many people have moved out this week. It like just invaluable resource to have.
That is, I mean, the word invaluable is exactly it, isn't it? It makes me like kind of begs the question: why do you think he's doing that?
His thing is like, I just want everyone to get into self-storage because he's like. He loves it. He loves it. Like he just loves it, and he's like really like infectious, and he talks about it with such like enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Which I think the two us starting the business and then discovering Dean Booty just like
have you met
went hand in hand. No, we haven't met him, but we've I really hope to meet him soon.
Yeah.
But we had we've had an exchange, on socials and stuff like that. I remember the day when. So we've started a podcast. We've started a podcast alongside Storage Bros called The Storage Hustle, which is basically just literally just the two of us just talking about shipping containers, like and how we started, and like not trying to come across as gurus or anything like that. Just literally we're 2 years into our journey, and this is what we do. If you find it useful, then brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you strip away. Like the subject matter or whatever, and the subject matter could be anything. But the fact that that you've just kind of gone in and figured it out, it's that hustle thing, right?
Yeah, I think I think figuring it out is one of the most enjoyable things for me.
Okay,
that's one of the things that I've identified that makes me tick.
Right.
And it also explains why. I sometimes feel that so if I dive into something new, you get that kind of enthusiasm, you get that kind of dopamine release of learning new stuff, and you kind of deep dive, you go down rabbit holes and you discover new things, and it makes you really motivated. But then you sometimes hit like a plateau of like, right, I'm either going to take this more serious and I'm going to dive even deeper into it, or I'm going to start implementing what I've learned, and then getting to a point where this is fun and this is cool, and then that almost drops off.
Okay.
I find with myself.
And what do you do when it drops off?
It's interesting. I tend to then, it's harder to then revisit. It's harder to then come back to, it becomes hard, as time goes on, it gets harder and harder to get back to something.
Can you give me an example of that?
What is a good example of this? I think, I'm trying to think of something specific. I think maybe like a new skill.
Okay.
I think I had a large capacity for new skills, I think, in my earlier career.
Okay.
And now I feel like I have less capacity for it. So like,
okay.
I don't know, for example, like I'll outsource a lot of things that could be quite simple, like things that I do, like accounting, for example.
Okay.
Like I've always outsourced it. I know that things like, you know, like Xero, QuickBooks, etc., like they're fairly simple to do, get on top of, like, understand. But it will for me, where I am at now, I feel like I'm almost at capacity for almost like taking on new skill sets.
But hang on, but like, cause like, right. So I'm curious now, because you're talking about doing like your accounting as like as you taking on a new skill set. Like why are you seeing it as not taking on a skill set? What is there any other way you could look at the fact that you're outsourcing that stuff?
Well, I guess what I'm doing is I'm getting my time, right?
Right. And why is that? I guess what I'm trying to understand is why is that necessarily a bad thing?
Yeah, well, I guess I think it suits me.
Yeah.
I think it suits me for where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay.
And my capacity as a business owner at the moment. I guess like my overarching thing here is that I spin plates a lot.
Okay.
And I've always been really good at spinning plates. I'm always like, I think we spoke about before, like I'll thrive on something new, and I'll thrive on having multiple things to do.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like getting to that plateau that I just spoke about.
Yeah.
In one project.
Yeah.
In one, let's call it business. Like my businesses are like my projects.
Yeah.
I'll get to a plateau, or I'll get to a problem that I can't quite solve right there and then.
Okay.
Or even if it's something that I've been dwelling on for a couple of days, and the answer's not quite there yet. I haven't quite figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Having another plate, I'll just leave that plate spinning. I'll come back to you later.
I see. Okay.
And then I've got another project. I've got another plate. I've got another entity. I've got another thing that I can then divert my attention to.
Okay.
Because it's not nice. Like it's not the feeling when you can't solve a problem. It's not a nice feeling.
Right.
Like when I thrive off that. I thrive off like solving problems.
Yeah.
And learning new things and unlocking that next level of whatever it is.
Why is it not a nice feeling if you can't solve a problem?
It doesn't. It makes me feel frustrated.
Okay.
You know, when there's something that, especially when it needs to be done or requires to be done, or it's time sensitive or something like that, and I can't quite get there. Having the other plates is almost like an easy way for me to be like, I'll come back to you later.
Okay.
I'll go on to this problem, and I'll revisit this problem, and then if I can't do that one, I've got this one.
Okay. Well, now I'm dying to ask, what plates are still spinning? That have been left that you're coming back to?
Well, it's hard. Like, I guess like this, without diving into like deep diving into each thing, and I guess like what's, I don't know, outstanding on each project, which are like, the way I see it is I've got three pillars. which are 3 businesses that I run. Cuties Pies, Storage Bros, and Get Yards. So I guess to answer your question, those are the plates that I'm spinning.
Okay.
Right. So in each one, I have individual problems to solve. Generally operational problems. Things like cash flow, staffing. Things like that. Like the everyday things of any business, but are always, I guess, the challenges are always a little bit unique in everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the thing that I'm struggling the most with is in every business, as literally when we were just setting up, you were talking about the multiple hats that you have to wear as a business owner.
Yeah.
Like I have that times 3.
Got you.
So even though all the skill, in most cases the skills are transferable.
Sure.
It's swapping hats in each business. It's swapping hats within each business. At the moment, 3 separate times.
Okay.
Like there's. I almost feel like it's almost like too much.
Okay.
And the thing that I'm struggling the most with, we've talked about like all of my, basically what I'm up to.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Currently.
Currently. But these the all 3 are like long-term projects, heavy investment, both from a time and skill set point of view, and also from a financial point of view. Like they've all required a lot to get to where they are now. So it's almost like the risk, not the risks, what's the word I'm looking for? I've got more to lose, right? Because I'm invested so heavily in all of them.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And there's 2 things. There's one major thing that I'm struggling the most of. On one side, right, I'm going to start with the other side. You don't know which side I'm going to say yet. But I'm quite a visual person.
Yeah.
So on one side, I've got the less than idyllic, let's call it, loss of my previous business.
Okay. This is Box Shop.
Yeah. Which I kind of made a promise to myself that I wouldn't leave myself that exposed ever again.
Okay.
In terms of, I learned a lot of lessons from that in terms of trust, relationships, people around you, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing that I kind of vowed to myself was that I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket again, because if you're completely reliant on one thing, if it doesn't go to plan, you're starting again from zero. Starting again from zero is really hard. That's what I've been doing the past few years, right?
Yeah.
Building up again. And that's where I'm at now with my businesses. So I've got that side of me, which is like not putting all your eggs in one basket, having multiple pillars of interest and income. Interest being that I've got multiple plates spinning, and when I find one a challenge, I can jump to the other. Yeah. And if I'm that challenge, I can jump to the other and revert back and things like that. So from a interest point of view, but then from a financial point of view as well, because you having the multiple streams of income, it eliminates that. If something falls, then there's the others.
Got you.
So I'm not there's not an element of starting again from zero again. Yeah. So that's one side. Yeah. The other side is, I think back to a time when I felt the most focused, the sharpest, the strongest, probably the best I've ever felt, the most driven, the most motivated. Yeah. And that was at a time when I was focusing on one thing. Okay. I had that one thing, and that's what I lived and breathed. There was no spinning there was spinning plates within that business.
Within the one business.
But it was just the one business, right? And then you've got on that side, I've constantly got I love Alex Hormozy. I think he's brilliant, right? Yeah. He's an advocate of be a CEO of one thing. Yeah. Complete that and then do the next thing. Like if you want to, if you still got a thirst, etc.,
yeah,
and you want to do multiple businesses, like do one thing first, be the CEO of one thing, focus on that. So I'm torn between the two.
That's interesting.
That's the thing that I'm struggling the most with, I would say.
So is it okay? So when you think about the idea of potentially stripping back to one, like what kind of goes through your mind when you think about that? Because you're obviously torn between going back and forth here, but you're currently doing 3. So what feelings come up for you when you consider going back to the other side?
The first thing I feel is fear.
Okay.
That's the first thing I feel. Because I don't want to be in that position again.
Okay. And given that you're in the current situation where you have these 3 things going on. Okay, so you said like the last time you felt that motivated and driven, like when you were doing that first thing, when it was just that one thing, give me like on a scale like 1 to 10, like how driven and motivated you felt
on the first
when you were just doing one thing.
It's tough. I guess if I describe it as the most focused I've ever been in my life.
Okay.
That's like 10 out of 10, isn't it?
Okay, so it's 10 out of 10.
I would probably say, like, if we're talking like, if 10 is a level of motivation that's achievable, somewhere that I've only ever experienced, then that's got to be the pinnacle of my motivation, focus, and drive.
Okay, so where are you now?
I'm going to have to take an average because it's very up and down.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out what the average is.
Okay.
I would say that I'm at a 6.
Okay.
6.5.
6.5.
I think I'm at a 6.5. If you take my average, of let's say the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Let's say the last 6 months, because things have been pretty intense in the last 6 months.
Okay.
With everything.
Okay. Where do you want to be?
6 to 9 months.
Where would you want? So if you're at 6.5,
yeah,
I understand that 10 is obviously like
10 is like
10 is the top, right? But like, where would you ideally like to be? Do you think if it was between 6.5 and 10?
I think I would be.
What would you be happy with?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the question, right? Is like I think I would be happier with myself.
Yeah.
If I was, an 8?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Like I would, because at the moment 6.5 is not comfortable for me.
Yeah. Okay.
6.5 means that there's a problem.
Okay.
6.5 to me is like something's not right.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. 8, I'm like, I can live with that. There's some room for improvement, but I'm quite far removed from feeling bad about myself at 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas 6.5 is like, that's not where I want to be.
Okay.
I feel, but it's like, on the good days, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling good. But, on the bad days, I'm feeling bad.
Okay. So what do you think it would take to get you to like a 7 or a 7.5? Like in terms of like, that could be either practical things or it could be like maybe how you feel about things. Like what would it take to just edge you up from that, do you think?
It's, I guess my biggest thing is progress.
Progress. Okay.
Yeah. Like forward motion.
And in what areas do you feel you're not seeing enough of that?
That's a real tough one because like, because I can't revert back and just say, well, my drive, because what we're trying to establish is like...
No, but I suppose what I mean by that is like, if like, I know, I see what you're saying, but I suppose like that could be anything, right? Like progress, like maybe it's in like the business, like a specific business. Like you said, you want to see progress. Okay, I'll rephrase then. Where do you want to be seeing more progress?
Where do I want to be seeing more progress? Within the businesses.
Whatever.
Within the businesses, for sure.
Okay, that's your answer. So I thought you were asking me.
No. I think because I don't want to like drill down into like each business. So it's more like so progress. I guess like progress to me means actual growth in the business.
Okay.
So we're talking like financial growth.
Okay.
Not stagnating, definitely not going backwards.
Okay. And where are you seeing the biggest need for an improvement in that area?
Where am I seeing the biggest need? Sorry, what do you mean?
So, okay, so you're saying you don't want to plateau, you don't want to go backwards, you want to be seeing growth, right? Like financial growth. So where, I guess I'm trying to understand, like, in what area do you feel like you're not seeing that where you want to be seeing it?
I think potentially what it is that it might be too slow.
Okay.
So growth might be too slow for what, I guess maybe it's either what I'm accustomed to, what I've previously experienced, and what I prefer.
Yeah.
And I guess my biggest question is that it comes back to those two elements of, am I trying to do too much? Should I be focusing on one thing? Or there's also an element of me that we've already touched on where I thrive off doing multiple things. I kind of have to have that. And that also, going even further back in the conversation, like it all forms part of my fear of the other side, which is employment.
Yeah.
Which is, because I associate that with like one directional in terms of like challenge.
Yeah.
So I think part of my fear of that comes from thriving off doing multiple things.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm just in such a
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think it would take for you to be able to see growth where you're not currently seeing it in these companies? So like, give me one example where you're not seeing growth, but you'd like to be seeing growth. And you said speed. There was a speed element there as well.
Yeah.
That's actually, do you know what? That's really interesting that you weren't actually saying that there wasn't growth. It was to do with the speed. So that kind of makes me wonder like what your expectations are for the growth.
Mm-hmm. I think look, a big part of what I was trying to achieve a few years ago, when I guess I described it as starting again, my sole focus was almost like getting back to where I was.
Okay.
Which then there was a turning point, and I can't tell you when exactly that was in the past like few years, but there was a turning point where I was just like, I need to stop. That needs to not be my goal.
Okay.
Because I think the realization was that I'm on a different path now.
Yeah.
I'm going in a different direction. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner, and I'd like to think that I always will be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I knew obviously my path was going to carry on.
Yeah.
In entrepreneurship, but in different ways, and almost like letting go of the previous success that I've had. Stop trying to achieve exactly that, and focus on the path that you're on.
Yeah.
Which I think has allowed me to slow down a bit and play a bit more of the long game with what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay.
But I guess the question is that going to be sustainable going forwards?
I don't know, is it?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Why wouldn't it be? I don't know. Maybe it all comes back to that fear of losing it again. you know?
Okay, but hang on, because like, what do you know about yourself that will help you to change the way that you look at that?
I think I'm adaptive.
Yeah.
Definitely agile. I can think on my feet. I can problem solve. That's one of the things that I do best, I think. That's one of the things that fulfills me the most. So I guess having a bit more trust in those abilities makes me feel confident.
And how much, before I ask that question, how much trust would you have said that you had in those abilities?
Yeah, I think that's the bit where I question myself quite a lot.
Okay, let's sit with that. So why do you question yourself on that?
Why do I question myself? I guess it's a validation thing.
Yeah.
I think when you're an entrepreneur, you've got no one patting you on the back. You've got no one telling you, not really got anyone telling you you're doing a good job. You're kind of figuring it out for yourself, right? You don't have a boss. You don't have anyone that you answer to, which is a good thing. But then on the flip side is that there's no one telling you that you're doing well.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to figure that out. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you've kind of got to rely on your skill set, right?
Yeah.
I've got to have confidence in my abilities and experience.
Yeah.
To push forward. I'm not really relying on other people.
Okay.
I'm not really relying on externals. I'm the type of person, right, that if I have a question in front of me that is to do with nuclear physics, and I've got a nuclear physicist sat right next to me, I'm going to ask him the question, and I'm probably not going to believe him. I'm then going to probably do my own research or Google it or read.
Okay. You have to do it yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like I'm not going to take that person's word for it.
Okay.
You know? So.
Okay. What is the importance of that when you relate that back to the kind of challenges how can you relate that to the challenges you're currently having in your business, do you think?
I guess what I can do is I can fall back on my experience and skill set a bit more.
Yeah.
In the times where I feel a bit more uncertain.
Yeah.
Somehow, if I can remind myself of that in the moment when I'm faced with something that's challenging.
Yeah.
You know, it could be that it's a confidence thing. And have it, maybe it's like I need to be more reliant on being able to lean back on that experience and lean back on that skill set and somehow be reminded of all the things that I've overcome and all the problems that I've solved in the past.
Yeah.
When I'm faced with new challenges.
Okay, so give me an example of, I mean, you don't have to go into the specifics of it, but like perhaps like a current challenge that you're facing in the business, and then just apply all of that stuff that you've just said to it. How can give me an example of that?
I think so in Storage Bros, for example.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for a couple of years, for like 2 years now, but still feel very new to the industry and new to the business. In hospitality, it's even though that has its own set of challenges. Like I kind of feel comforted that I've got over a decade of experience there.
Yeah.
Whereas with Storage Bros, I think I'm a lot in the position that I'm in. I'm a lot more reliant on me being able to problem solve and learn a new skill set.
Yeah.
So I guess potentially what I can do is I can kind of zoom out and I can say, look, I'm not, using the nuclear physicist analogy.
I like that.
I'm not teaching myself to be a nuclear physicist. I'm teaching myself how to overcome a particular problem in a business.
Yeah.
And business, there's transferable skills in all of my businesses, right? It's business ownership. Like that's the skill.
Yeah.
It's not the individual. It is the individual things, skills that make up business ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess perhaps, even though that I'm relatively new to that industry and I'm being faced with problems that I haven't solved before, I haven't become aware of before within that industry. Yeah. Maybe I have got a wealth of experience that I can lean back on. Yeah. But it's just in other industries.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's come back to like the because you were sort of talking earlier about that sort of, you were struggling with the kind of growth aspect. So when it comes to with everything that you've kind of just said and all the kind of realizations you come to from that, how do you view the growth thing now?
How do I view the growth thing now? Yeah, well, look, I think that's always going to be a big driver for me. Yeah. It's always going to be a big driver for me. Like, I think.
Okay, so in terms of like, because what I'm trying to understand, right, is it the speed of the growth that's the challenge, or is it your expectations of the growth that is the challenge?
Mm-hmm. It's most likely the expectation.
Okay, so in that case, how could you change your expectations in order to feel a bit better about the growth in these businesses? Mm-hmm. What story would you have to tell yourself to change that expectation?
I think it might be an element of focusing too much on I guess like the end goal. Okay. I'm not talking like, what the actual like exit strategy or exit plan is for each business, but like what is it that I'm looking to achieve, both personally and in business? And well, the two are so interwoven, I think, in general, because one dictates the other and vice versa. But potentially it's about like setting not more manageable, but goals that are less grand. Okay. Like breaking down, like, right, okay, if I've got this goal, what is it that I need to achieve and what steps do I need to get to this goal? Yeah. Because if I'm focused on those challenges and overcoming those challenges, it's going to feel like progress. Okay. Rather than focusing on that big goal. Yeah. Feel like I'm kind of stepping towards it, but not really stepping towards it. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Rather than focusing on that. I think that's maybe what it is, right? It's like
zooming in a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, zooming in. Like zooming out is good, and it's always good to have, I guess, that dream or aspiration. In your mind, but then maybe it's a case of zooming in a bit more.
Okay, so then
more so the goals feel more achievable. Yeah.
So what? Okay, so do you? I mean, without you have to kind of go into the specifics of it, but can you see what that looks like? Can you see what your previous like kind of big picture goal was, and what it could potentially change to in order to make, like you've just said, like progress a bit more visible, I suppose?
Yeah, I think if I go specific, into Storage Bros again, one of the things, I know what I want to achieve with our social media, for example. Yeah. Like it's really crystal clear, like what I want to achieve with it.
Is this big or small?
Look, as big as it can be within that industry. Sure. I mean, it could supersede, it could surpass the industry. Because like, so our content is all business development related. Nothing on our social media is to generate leads, or is to generate sales. Like it's all purely documentary, business development, and I guess an element of personal brand building as well. Being the face of the business. So like that is really sharp and really clear of how I want to maintain it. But it's what steps do I need to take in order to get to that goal? What's the goal? Is it a large TikTok community? Is it a large Instagram community? Is it a large community on YouTube with the podcast? I mean, like I said, large or sizable relative to the industry. But I guess those are the goals, right? So I guess it's like, without being focused on those too much, how do I actually get there? Because one of the biggest things is struggling with actually creating the content.
Right, I see.
So, and like one of the things I'm struggling most with is actually editing, which is ironic because I used to be an editor.
I was going to say that,
I used to be a filmmaker and editor. So, and I don't know what that is, and maybe it's something to do with that plateau that we spoke about before.
Okay.
Like I've already got to a level of that skill set, with editing and which is, I guess, in a previous chapter of my life. And maybe and I just don't have the capacity to do it anymore, or I don't have the capacity to do that.
So what would you do if you didn't do it yourself?
It'd be outsourced, right?
And why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, but sometimes, what I struggle with? I sometimes struggle with outsourcing a task and the effort that it takes to produce a brief or to explain what it is that I need doing. Because I am autodidactic and I've picked up so many skills along the years. I could do most things. So a lot of the time.
But why should you have to do them more though? Like
that's
just because you can. Why do you have to?
Yes, this is true, and I think this is something that I really need to work on. Is that I would like, as it stands right now, is that I would rather a lot of the time, instead of spending the half an hour that it takes to create a brief for a menu design in Cuties Pies, because I'm a graphic designer, I have that skill set, or creating a brief for a social edit for Storage Bros. In my head, the time that effort that it's going to take to create those instructions or briefs, my mind always goes, I might as well just do it myself.
Okay. But what would be better for you?
Not doing them. Not doing those things that would take up more of my time.
Okay.
Then they're more tasks that I fail to complete that make me feel bad.
Okay. So
about myself.
Okay. So what's stopping you from... Okay, let me rephrase. Looking forward into like the next week or whatever, what small change do you think you could make to your approach that would, I suppose, make you feel like you're making a bit more progress based on the things that we've just talked about, right? Because we've covered things like, outsourcing things that you shouldn't be doing. We've talked about, making bigger goals a bit smaller so they feel like they're more meaningful or more, you're seeing more progress. And I think they were the main ones, to be fair. So
good ones to focus on.
So I think what would feel like a meaningful step forward to do in the next coming sort of week or couple of weeks that would be in that direction?
If I take a task that's on my to-do list, if I take one single one, I'll be happy with this, right? One single task, and I go, right, I'm literally going to set myself the goal of not completing it.
Okay.
By myself. I'm going to be like, that task that's on my to-do list to complete, I'm going to actively not complete it.
Okay, and what are you going to do instead?
I'm going to take that task. Doesn't matter how big or small.
Okay.
Let's start with something small. And I'm going to find someone else to do that task for me.
Okay, how does that feel though? The idea of doing that?
How does that feel?
Letting go of that, that sort of delegation? How does that feel?
I think I'll have a greater sense of achievement of completing the task, of outsourcing the task, that task being successfully completed and landed back with me. I think I will have a better sense of accomplishment than doing it myself. Bearing in mind that my job role is not graphic designer, it's business owner.
Yeah.
So if I want to make myself feel better about being a graphic designer or a video editor, I'll complete those tasks. If I want to make myself feel better about the business owner that I am, I'll outsource them to someone else. So what am I trying to achieve? I'm trying to be a better business owner, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's it. That's the key, right?
Okay.
I feel like that's the key. The more that I don't do means the more that I achieve.
Okay. I was going to.
The better I feel about myself.
I was going to say, what? Yeah. Maybe that's part of the next episode. But you kind of half answered this. But what I kind of want to hear you like articulate fully is like, what would this small change that you're suggesting, so outsourcing these tasks, what opportunities would that give for you? Do you think?
I think it would mean that my time is not focused on. My time is not focused on tasks within the business.
Yeah.
And it means I can focus on the bigger picture stuff.
Okay.
Which is the thing the bigger the problem, the harder it is to solve. It's the big problems or the big challenges that need overcoming that are required at the moment with all of the businesses in the current states that they're in. I can't give my time and attention to those bigger problems or bigger challenges if most of my time is taken up by smaller tasks. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. I think that kind of summarizes it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I guess like just to finish things off then, my last question is, when are you going to do this? When are you going to outsource that task? What's the task? And when are you going to outsource it?
Literally, and I have tried this. Right? So one of the tasks is that, so within Cutie Pies, we're moving venues to another venue, basically, to a separate venue. From a venue that we've been in for the last couple of years, so it's quite a big thing. Moving to another venue, it's a slightly different concept. We're bringing two concepts in one, almost like a mini food hall type thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that I would normally do, which is copy and paste, use the same menu or something like that, like it's basically it's a slightly different concept and there's a bit more brain power behind it. One of the things is that the menu needs designing.
Okay, right. And you were going to do it.
Yeah. So look, I when was it? Week before last, I started to do it, and then so I had Illustrator up, and I was like beginning my creative process of designing a menu, which is like you just start chucking things. Take some existing menus, chuck them in. I know it needs to be different to that, so I'll start playing around with stuff. And then normally what happens at that point is then I start having ideas. That's like my creative process. That's like my version of like doodling on Illustrator. And then what came into my mind was something that I don't have the skill set for. So I'm not an illustrator. I don't have illustration in my skill set. I'm a graphic designer. Yeah, mostly font-based stuff. Like I like fonts. Simplistic stuff. So anything that's like playful or involves illustration, it's generally outside my skill set. So normally, to be fair, like in the past, I've when I physically can't do it, like I'll actually outsource it, right?
You tried to do this before,
yeah, but I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago.
So how are you going to try this next time? And how are you going to use what we've just been talking about to make sure that you actually go through it this time?
I think maybe what it is that I need to not even attempt to do it myself.
Got you.
I need to be like, I just need to be almost forget that I know how to do it.
Right.
Almost forget that in a previous life I was a graphic designer.
Okay.
Almost be like, because there's so many business owners out there that I work with and that I've come across, and people that are close friends of mine that they're business owners. Like their skill set comes in leadership, and it's not in the I guess like the skill set that I have, which is like the design and the creativity. Like they're led by different things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's almost like I need to forget that I know how to do them.
So when are you going to do this?
I guess I don't. Like, I've got my to-do list is like I could probably circle at least 3 or 4 things.
All right, let's do it.
That I just don't need to do.
Okay. All right. Well, you need to tell me if you once you've done that. I look forward to hearing you once you've.
I will let you know how I get
on. Amazing. Listen, man, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It's all good, man. It's been really good.
This has been Business Blocks. I've been Olivier, and this has been Jamie O'Mara. And check out the Storage Bros story because it's fucking cool.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it. No, thanks for having me on.
Nice one.
It's been really good.